Another Andrew's back, a bad Andrew, Andrew Cuomo. He just keeps resurfacing. And this time he wants us to make him New York City mayor, even though he's a disgusting, terrible person who had a direct role in causing the deaths of some 8,000 New York nursing home patients, thanks to his order that required the nursing homes to take COVID positive patients without doing any testing. He took the sickest and put them right in the heart of the most vulnerable populations of New York. And people did die. And in my opinion, that is squarely on him. And then he undercounted the number of dead in New York nursing homes by at least half to cover up the numbers. Why? Because his political ambitions saw him, in his own mind, becoming the next president of the United States. And amazingly, that scandal did not tank him, nor did the fact that he closed New York City schools for a year, New York schools for a year, nor did the fact that he went soft on crime or banned fracking, did not doom him. What doomed him was the Me Too allegations that came up against him after all this. Really, it was just the straw that broke the camel's back. When some 11 or 12 women went on the record saying he'd felt them up or behaved inappropriately with them. And Letitia James, the New York AG, came in and said, it's real. He's got a serious problem. And then he tried to tell us all it was because he's an Italian. He's an Italian. And I'm here to tell you that my pop-up was 100% Italian. And my mom's 50% Italian, and I'm 25% Italian. And being Italian does not make you feel people up inappropriately or behave inappropriately at work. I'm just going to tell you right now, I know this. I mean, my pop-up never touched a woman inappropriately. Andrew, he was a great Italian, and screw you for disparaging my people in this way and for thinking you can come back and we need you. Is this the best we can do for New York City, Andrew?
It's an amazing thing that people like Anthony Weiner ran for mayor of New York. It's amazing the people who run for a city that is basically owned by the Democrats. It's kind of like what's happening in California, where Gavin Newsom's polls remain high. No matter what he does to that state, he drives it into the ground, and Gavin Newsom still is getting good polls. Andrew Cuomo was a terrible governor. He's a terrible human being. I hear from everybody I know who covers him. He not only did, as you say, take action that resulted in the deaths of all those older people in their homes. He also said things during the pandemic that really should come back to haunt him, and I hope they do. I mean, stuff like when he said, "Oh, there's nothing worse than death." If the alternative to closing everything down, to masking everybody, to making people get I was in New York where you had to get carded to get into a restaurant and prove you'd had the vaccine, and you have to do that because the alternative is death. And what can be more than death? And I thought, dishonor, not being free. There are a lot of things that are worse than death. I mean, death is bad, but it's not the worst thing. And living in disgrace is another thing that's bad. He also said at one point, and this is, if I were a Democrat, this is if I were a Republican, this is a video I would run forever. When Trump said, "Make America Great Again," he made a speech in which he said, America was never great. It was never that great. Oh my God, we were terrible, we were racist, we were sexist, we were all these terrible things. It was never great. I would play that over and over again, because people who feel that way, they are entitled to their opinion, but they should not be governing the country at any level. People who do not love this country should not be governing the country at any level. It's the thing that absolutely baffles me about Democrats. When you let people pour across the border, nobody seems to ask them, who benefits from this? What American benefits from people pouring across the border like that? It's like they do not care about the people who hire them, the people who are supposed to be their concern and in their care. They do not care. And Cuomo is just like that. The real problem New York has is that the Republicans have never bothered to build a structure that can take them on. So it's always like one guy, Lee Zeldin, somebody kind of trying to break through without the support of the Republican Party, because Republicans, as we know, have a tendency to give up when the going gets tough. The minute things look hard, we'll never win back California. We'll never win back New York. But in fact, the last time New York was in this kind of descending state, the way it is now, Rudy Giuliani took the city over and was one of the great probably the greatest mayor the city ever had. that. And that can happen again if the Republicans get their act together and if they find a candidate. As the old saying goes, you can't beat someone with no one. I think Andrew Cuomo is finished. I'm sorry he got Me Too'd because he deserved to be taken out for a million other reasons. He and Letitia
I know,
James
he did.
hated
I mean, that
each
nursing
other.
home scandal, that's what had Janice Dean, so up in arms for years. And it's because her husband's parents were both killed in New York nursing rooms by COVID. And they went in 2.5 weeks before this order. There's Sean Newman with his parents, who I knew personally, and I know Janice and Sean very, very well. I mean, she's one of my closest friends. And he is the dearest, most wonderful guy you will ever meet in your life. And he wrote a letter to his fireman union and went off on this. I mean, I'm very proud of him because Sean, unlike his wife Janice, is shy. Like, he's reserved. He doesn't not like being out there publicly. He wants to fight fires, and now he fights terrorism, and that's what he wants to do. But he is so pissed about Andrew Cuomo. Please remember this, people. When you are looking at Andrew Cuomo as the only name you know, and now trying to reinvent himself as a moderate, which he's not. And here's Sean telling his union, I want to express my opposition to Andrew Cuomo's candidacy or any attempt by him to return to public office. He calls him disgraced, says he's corrupt, dishonest, and uses well-known intimidation tactics to get his way. He goes on to talk about what happened with his parents being sent into the nursing homes, and it was just terrible timing. And he said, we were very angry about that order sending the COVID-positive patients into the nursing homes. We were angry for the reasons that it was sent out, which was designed to be in the best interest of healthcare executives and officials, not an aging population with compromised immune systems. These decisions were based on politics and exacting control on the population. He points out we had the USS Comfort, that aircraft carrier, and the Javits Center totally empty during the crisis. They could have sent COVID-positive patients there. He didn't. The hospitals were packed. The nursing homes were packed. Andrew Cuomo sent them into the nursing homes with the elderly population. No satisfactory answer was ever given, he writes, why the Comfort and the Javits lay in disuse during the worst pandemic in 100 years. He had us all fooled in the beginning with his version of fireside chats, his daily pep talks watched by the whole country. He said, but this was not him leading in crisis. It was to set up his next political leap, which was potentially as next president of the United States if his true colors were not revealed. With the death toll still spiking, he thought the best use of his time and staff resources was self-aggrandizement as he worked on a so-called leadership book during the pandemic and on the public dime. Just a reminder, because his polls right now show him leading because of name recognition. But what we've also seen, Andrew, is that when people are reminded of his dastardly deeds, they come back down to earth, and he is beatable. I'll give you the last word.
Absolutely. And he has no friends. Letitia James didn't take him down because of her love for females, because she was protecting women. She took him down because she hated his guts. They were like two scorpions in a bottle, the two of them. And basically, that's the way everyone around him felt. And ultimately, that comes back to bite you. You cannot run with you if you don't have the support of your party. And Andrew Cuomo really does not have the support of anybody. I'm not too worried about him, except Democrats in Democrat cities can take an awful lot of punishment before they wake up.
I know. I mean, in an era in which, New York State moved more to the right, New York City even moved a little bit more to the right with Trump, are they really going to take Andrew Cuomo and his fake, reinvented, moderate shtick seriously? I urge you not to do so. We can do better than Andrew Cuomo. I'll say this, running for the Democratic primary is this guy named Whitney Tilson. And this is somebody who Bill Ackman has endorsed. That's somebody that you could look at if you were a Dem. But do not look at Andrew Cuomo. He is not the answer. He is the problem. You don't go out and buy a life jacket when the boat is sinking. And you don't buy gold when the economy has already collapsed. Clearly, others are heeding this advice as gold hit all-time highs already this year. It's not too late for you, too. And you could have Birch Gold help you diversify into physical gold. Birch Gold specializes in helping you convert an existing IRA or 401k in whole or in part into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold, and for no money out of pocket. One recent 5-star review said Birch Gold was, quote, knowledgeable, helpful, non-pressure. Get your free info kit on gold by texting the letters MK to the number 989898. There is no obligation, just useful information. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and countless 5-star reviews, text MK to 989898 and let the experts at Birch Gold help you secure your future today with gold. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.